Namaskar, good morning. You're watching the newspaper show and I'm Swati Joshi. Let's take a look at what's making the headlines. What are the stories on the front page of the newspapers? Let's begin with Sunday Times edition of the Times of India and let's show you what are the big stories here on page 1. We must stand up to China, says Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. He says reaching an equilibrium with China is not going to be easy. The state of the border and the future of our ties with China cannot be separated. So here in this particular article, the foreign minister is talking about how India needs to, maintain the strength at the border because reaching an equilibrium with China is not going to be easy. He says the state of the border and the future of our ties cannot be separated, and that is the reality. So basically, he's talking about the relationship between India and China, and of course, the standoff that took place at the border and the follow-up that is happening at this point in time in terms of disengagement. Another important story on the front page right next to this one is Apple vendor eyes production shift to India. Now, this is a major relocation as far as Apple is concerned from China as part of global business effort for de-risking of manufacturing bases. By diversifying supply chains, a contract manufacturer for Apple is shifting 6 production lines. Now, this would generate 55,000 jobs. That's the most important bit in this article. A contract manufacturer who is shifting the production to India will be creating jobs. This new facility is expected to generate employment for around 55,000 Indian workers over a year or so. The vendors may expand their operations beyond phones to include tablets, computers and laptops at a later stage. So this is definitely very, very important. There are other top stories on the broadcast as far as Nepal is concerned. Nepal set to send the new map to UN and others. That's an important story. Remember, the Nepalese parliament already has passed that map claiming 3 Indian territories as their own, and now they are all set to send the map to UN. That's an important bit. Amar Singh, a top politician, a colorful figure in politics, has breathed his last. That's an unfortunate bit being reported here on the first page. Amar Singh, trusted confidant of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and also he had friends in the film industry as well, breathed his last. He was 64 years. He had also undergone a kidney transplant in 2011. He wasn't keeping well for the past couple of months, and he has now breathed his last. That's the update here on page 1. There are other important stories as far as the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi is concerned. Manish Sisodia has asked Amit Shah to intervene on hotels. So he's seeking intervention of the centre as far as the situation in the national capital is concerned. The Deputy Chief Minister of the national capital has written to Amit Shah, strongly worded letter, we are being told. It's a strongly worded letter to Union Home Minister Amit Shah, accusing him of getting the decision of Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal to open hotels and weekly markets from 1st of August overturned through the LG. Moving on, as far as COVID update is concerned, highest COVID deaths have been reported along with recoveries. So the recovery, in fact, in a way, has exceeded the number of active cases. That's an important bit here with some data. The daily death toll from the COVID-19 pandemic in India has crossed 800 for the first time, with 848 fatalities that were reported in the last 24 hours. So highest COVID death, and recovery is also increasing at this point in time, which is relief as far as the number of cases are concerned that are going up every single day, with surge being reported in the national capital. So that's what was there on the first page as far as the Times of India Sunday edition is concerned. Moving on to second page, and this is about Delhi. We'll get back to Delhi in some time. Let's take a look at what's on the front page of Navbharat Times. नवभारत टाइम्स के पहले पन्ने पर लिखा गया है, दिल्ली में सील जोन घटे, 90% ठीक हुए. Now this is of course about the corona numbers that have come down, the positive cases that have come down in the national capital, and this article says राजधानी में कोरोना के हालात दिनों दिन सुधर रहे हैं. सील इलाके यानी कंटेनमेंट जोन घटकर 496 रह गए हैं. सोमवार को इनकी संख्या 715 थी. So last week, as far as containment zones in national capital is concerned, were 715, but they have reduced now to 496. यहाँ पर एक डेटा भी दिया गया है कि रिकवरी रेट देश में क्या है. 11 लाख लोग अब तक रिकवर हो चुके हैं कोरोना वायरस से. दिल्ली में अगर रिकवरीज की बात करें तो 1,22,131. दैट्स दी डेटा कमिंग इन. एक्टिव केसेस 10,596. पूरे देश भर में अगर रिकवरी रेट की बात करें तो 10 लाख के करीब लोग रिकवर हो चुके हैं. ये इसमें जानकारी. सो बेसिकली द नंबर ऑफ recoveries are going up, not just in the national capital but in the entire country as well. As far as active cases are concerned, at this point in time in India there are 5,65,103 एक्टिव केसेस. मूविंग ऑन, अयोध्या से जुड़ी हुई भी एक बहुत अहम खबर यहाँ पर है. अयोध्या में सड़कें राम नाम हुई. तो भूमि पूजन से पहले, जो कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी खुद अटेंड करने वाले हैं, भूमि पूजन से पहले ये वहाँ पर तैयारियों का जायजा लिया जा रहा है. अयोध्या में दिवाली जैसा माहौल है, जश्न की पूरी तैयारी है. भूमि पूजन से पहले कई तरह के सड़कें और मंदिर वहाँ पर सजाए गए. कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं कि भूमि पूजन राम मंदिर का भव्य तरीके से हो, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री भी उसमें शामिल होने वाले हैं. और कल क्योंकि देश भर में ईद उल अजहा मनाया गया, और उसकी एक तस्वीर यहाँ फ्रंट पेज पर आप देख रहे हैं कैसे लोगों ने मास्क लगाकर. कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक से पूरा देश जूझ रहा है और इसका असर त्योहारों पर भी पड़ रहा है. तो मास्क लगाकर सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग को फॉलो करते हुए लोगों ने ईद मनाई कल पूरे देश भर में. और यहाँ एक बहुत छोटा सा आर्टिकल, बहुत छोटी सी क्लिप सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के सुसाइड केस में जो इस वक्त इन्वेस्टिगेशन बिहार पुलिस की चल रही है उसको लेकर है. बिहार पुलिस की निगरानी में रिया अंडर बिहार पुलिस वॉच. दरअसल कल बिहार के डीजीपी से हमारी ग्रुप एडिटर नाविका कुमार ने बातचीत की. उन्होंने भी कंफर्म किया कि एज फार एज रियाज वेयरअबाउट्स आर कंसर्न, द बिहार पुलिस हैज़ no clue, no information on Ria's whereabouts. They are still tracking Ria in the maximum city. At some point, of course, the Bihar police would want to interrogate Ria Chakrabarti, क्योंकि सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के पिता ने रिया चक्रवर्ती के खिलाफ खास तौर पर वो मामला दर्ज किया है. और यहाँ सेकेंड पेज पे अगर आप बात करें नवभारत टाइम्स के, तो विस्तार में जो कंटेनमेंट जोन्स घट गए हैं उसकी जानकारी, डिटेल्स दी गई है कि कैसे 2 दिन में 715 से 496 यानी कि 496 अब नंबर रह गया है कंटेनमेंट जोन्स का. कोरोना मरीजों के अपडेट रिकवरी को लेकर के ये आर्टिकल यहाँ पर. एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल, सीरो सर्वे से जुड़ा हुआ एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल यहाँ पर है. सीरो सर्वे को शुरू कर दिया गया है नेशनल कैपिटल में और ब्लड सैंपल से अब फिलहाल इसकी जांच की जा रही है. मूविंग ऑन नाउ, लेट्स ऑल्सो टेक अ लुक एट what's on the first page as far as the Economic Times is concerned. Economic Times first page focuses on the happenings in Uttar Pradesh. The headline here says the transformer, which is Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and then it also has a small brief. Murder and mandir politics dominate the headlines from Uttar Pradesh. In the din, it's easy to miss CM Yogi Adityanath's unlikely recasting of the state as a business-friendly destination. Let's take a look at what this article says in detail, and let's also go across to what's there in the second page. Government expands MSME credit scheme to cover professionals. Professionals including doctors who have taken loans from their business needs would now be eligible for credit under the special credit guarantee scheme for medium and small enterprises. Apart from that, the second page also has an article on the GST collection in the month of July, and that is not good news because the GST collection in July has gone down by 14%. The government in fact collected goods and services tax of rupees 87,422 crores for July, which is lower than the collection in June. So that's what is there on the second page of the Economic Times. Another important article over here, listed PSUs get till August 2021 to meet the MPS rules. The public sector listed companies now have another year to comply with minimum shareholding period, which is the MPS rules, which require them to have at least 25% public shareholding according to a government notification. So there's an important bit over here as far as the listed PSUs are concerned. All right, let's move on now to the city editions. Let's take a look at what's there as far as the city edition is concerned, and let's begin with the national capital, with Delhi. And in the second page here, like we were highlighting in Bharat Times, it talks about the red zones or the containment zones in the national capital that have come down. Let's go across to my colleague Kangna, who's joining us with more details. Kangna, as far as the national capital is concerned, yes, the recovery is higher than the active cases, and the containment zones have come down, so which is a massive relief, not just for the people of the national capital, but for the authorities as well.
So, Preeti, keeping the problems that were being faced by the citizens of Delhi in mind, Arvind Kejriwal held a meeting on 29th of July with his officials of the Delhi government to review the situation in Delhi with in relation to COVID-19, and which is why he realized that there are 715 containment zones in the national capital, and they are giving a lot of restrictions to a lot of people, and economic activities are also being disturbed by these containment zones, and which is why he reviewed the situation, and the containment zones have now come down from 715 to 496. So there is a huge reduction in the number of containment zones, which is the red zone, so that more and more people can come out of those areas and start with their economic activities, and the life of Delhi citizens can come back to normalcy. And which is why the Delhi government has taken this decision to reduce the number of containment zones from 715 to 496 as of now.
All right, Kangna, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Let's also, take a look at what's on the front page of this edition of the Maximum City. We're being told that the BMC is planning a city-wide antibody test, 57% in slum areas with antibodies. Let's go across to Arunil to get you more updates on this headline. The Municipal Corporation of the Maximum City is planning antibody tests. Arunil, what is the update that you have on this?
Well, this is confirmed by Additional Commissioner of BMC, Suresh Katani. Basically, the BMC feels that most people in the slums, around more than 50% people of the slums, have developed an antibody towards the coronavirus, which is very much evident with the low number of cases that are coming up in Dharavi, as well as some other slum areas in the city of Mumbai. And that is why the BMC is now planning that they will be doing random antibody test across the city of Mumbai, depending on different wards, to get an idea of an average how many people may have developed an antibody towards the coronavirus. This will help the BMC as well as the Maharashtra government in their Mission Begin Again program. So what all things can really be started if at all people have become immune to the coronavirus, they can start more new things. For that, they will be doing this particular move, and it is very significant considering that if at all people have developed an antibody, some people have developed these antibodies, so it can really help the BMC to know whether they can start local trails, whether they can start theaters as well, and on those lines the BMC can take decisions there.
Thank you very much for joining us with those details. Moving on and shifting focus to now Kolkata. As far as Kolkata is concerned, we are being told that 11 areas have been added to the containment list. And as far as the total number of containment zones are concerned, there are 37 at this point in time. 37 areas have been marked as containment zones in the city of Kolkata. Now, there is a surge in coronavirus positive cases in Kolkata, and keeping that in mind, these measures are being taken. There are strict lockdown norms as well in place as far as the city of Kolkata is concerned, and given the sudden spike that is being witnessed, the government has started marking areas under the containment zones now. Moving on and shifting focus to the city of Bengaluru. As far as Bengaluru is concerned, an important article there, Rights Panel files a case against the government. Let's go across to Imran, who has more details on this. The Rights Panel has filed a case against the government. The Yediyurappa government seems to be in a bit of trouble as far as handling of the COVID situation is concerned.
Well, absolutely. This complaint has been filed with the Public Accounts Committee, Congress MLA H.K. Patil, and in the past, also he has held up government for the corruption scandal in the purchase of medical equipment. Now he has filed a complaint with the Human Rights Commission saying that there was a mismanagement of the handling of the COVID cases in Karnataka. There was not availability of ambulances for 2-3 days. There was a delay in attending medical aid to many of the patients because because of which patients have died outside hospitals. And also he said that many of these tests were done not properly, and due to which the deaths have been reported, and the manner in which last rites were performed were against the human rights of the deceased. And combing all of this into one complaint, the HK Patil has filed it before the Human Rights Commission. In the first week of August, the Human Rights Commission asked Patil to issue for them his case, and after which the summoned in this case of human rights violation as far as COVID-19 patients are concerned.
Right. Imran, thank you very much for joining us with those details. We're moving on and shifting focus to Chennai now. Let's see what's making headlines as far as the city edition of Chennai is concerned. J. Jayalalitha's niece, Deepa, has moved to High Court. She, in fact, is challenging the government's decision to convert late J. Jayalalitha's Poise Garden residence, Veda Nilayam, into a memorial. The primary grounds of a challenge were that the Land Acquisition Act 2013 does not empower the state government to acquire a private land to convert it into a memorial, and that the acquisition was done without conducting and publishing the mandatory social impact assessment. Let's go across to Shabbir, who's joining us with more details on this story which is making headlines in the city edition of Chennai. J. Jayalalitha's Poise Garden residence has been decided to be converted into a museum, and that decision of the state government is being challenged by her niece.
Well, that's right, Swati. Deepa and Deepak, both of them have not agreed to the way in which Tamil Nadu government moved to acquire the Poise Garden property of late Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha. In fact, they had approached the Madras High Court, and the Madras High Court had clearly, given certain recommendations to the Tamil Nadu government, saying that why should public money be wasted in converting this property into a memorial? Instead of that, why can't this be used as an official residence of the Chief Minister come office of the Chief Minister? But the government said that they had plans to consider the recommendations that were made by the court. But despite that, the government is hell-bent upon acquiring this property and converting it to a memorial. Already there is a memorial that is being constructed at the Marina Beach where late Chief Minister Jayalalitha was laid to rest, and it's going to be a huge memorial. So another memorial at Poise Garden is a question that is being asked by many. But despite that, the Tamil Nadu government wants to convert this into a memorial, and there has been a lot of opposition too from the locals of Poise Garden. But the government has deposited the money, saying that they are going to acquire this property. Both Deepa and Deepak have decided that they are going to challenge this decision, and they have moved the Madras High Court challenging the acquisition process of Veda Nilayam. They say that due procedure of law was not followed in doing this, Swati.
All right. Shabbir, thank you very much for getting us the details on that story. We are moving on and shifting focus to international news. Trump says will ban TikTok in United States of America. Right after India already has banned the Chinese app, the President of United States has also decided on similar lines. Apps Chinese owner eyes selling US ops to avoid action. So Donald Trump has decided this action, and the declaration comes over a month after India banned the Chinese app. Microsoft and other companies, in fact, have been in talks to buy TikTok, but a deal has yet not been reached. And meanwhile, the President of United States of America has decided to ban TikTok. US officials, in fact, shot down the divestment plan, saying it was not a sufficient response. Moving on, another important article here as far as the global section here on the Sunday edition of Times of India is concerned. L1 visa application fee to rise by 75% and H1B fee to rise by 21% from October. So the spouses of H1B workers will have to shell out $550 each to obtain a work permit. This is a rise of about 34%. The basic application fee has been increased to $555 from the existing $460. So those are the important articles as far as the global section is concerned. Let's also shift focus to the sports section, Arsenal's Cup of Joy. And here we have Arsenal's the strike that led them to victory, a picture of that. Let's go across to Karishma, who's joining us with more details. Karishma, what's making news as far as the sports section is concerned?
Well, Swati, you spoke about Arsenal's up glory. But apart from that, what is important as far as Indian aspect is concerned is the IPL Governing Council meeting today. It is going to be in the second half of Sunday, anytime after 3 p.m., in which all the technicalities regarding shifting IPL out of India to the United Arab Emirates is going to be discussed, of playing IPL in Dubai, Sharjah and Abu Dhabi. All of those points will be on the agenda when the IPL Governing Council meets today to finalize how the IPL will be carried out in the UAE. Remember, IPL is still awaiting the government approval, the government nod to allow it to shift to UAE. But talks have been going on between BCCI and ECB on, what would be the concept of holding the IPL in UAE in terms of bio bubble, in terms of isolation, in terms of everything else. It is going to be put on the table today, and it is going to be a marathon meeting in which all aspects will be finalized of the IPL before sharing it with the franchisee owners. Swati.
Absolutely. Karishma, thank you very much for joining us with those details. And with that, we are also slipping into a very short break for now. But news and updates will continue. Stay with us.